Welcome back, everybody, to the DE podcast. This is Ekamresh, and we are back with our first episode of 2022. As always, I'm joined with Daniel over here.
Hi everybody, I'm Daniel, the host or co-host. I don't really know of the podcast, but before we wanted to start, we wanted to tell you guys Happy New Year. Hopefully in this new year you guys can achieve all your goals. Make sure to work hard, have fun. The purpose of this podcast is honestly to bring entertainment to people, to make people happy. If you're, feeling sad or something, come over here because we always have a fun time. It's funny, entertaining. And honestly, we just love talking to you because it feels like we're talking to you guys while we're doing the podcast, not just to each other as friends. So I think we can honestly get right started with today's podcast. So about a week ago, actually a week ago, it was Christmas and we had a lot of very entertaining Christmas basketball games. And we started with the Warriors and Suns game. So just a quick recap. The Warriors won 116 to 107. Steph Curry scored over 20 points on Christmas for the first time in his career. He had 33 points. Otto Porter Jr. came off the bench and scored 19, which does not happen too much. But Devin Booker did have a very quiet night with only 13 points, but definitely you have to credit the Golden State defense for that. And then both teams are tied for first in the conference. So, Ekamresh, what do you think about that game?
Well, I think it was just a very good game. It really lived up to the hype that the Warriors Suns matchup got. We got a good close game throughout the entire match. I actually was until about the third quarter, and then I tuned back in for the final few minutes. I thought the Suns were going to win the game. They were kind of controlling the tempo of the first and second quarter. They were up at halftime, and it looked like, hey, they're really good to get this win and secure the first seed. But then closer towards the end of the third quarter, the Warriors just started to just change the tide. Steph started making some three-pointers. Draymond was playing well, and obviously Otto Porter Jr. too, as you mentioned. And then they were able to just hang on to it until the end of the game. So it was just a very exciting game. Chris Paul played really well. DeAndre Ayton did too. Devin Booker, okay, a great night for him, but hopefully in the next one he'll also be able to take a game overall.
Yeah, I mean, for me, we keep saying this like every time we talk, and like a Western Conference Finals series between these two teams would
Yes.
just be, it will be entertaining. I mean, you have Steph Curry, probably the MVP of our league, against Devin Booker, who has come out from his shell for the past, I guess, 2 years plus, and now we can kind of see how it'll be because obviously last year the Suns did go through a hard playoffs to make the finals, but in the conference finals they got kind of lucky with Kawhi not being there, and
Yes.
maybe they're lucky, maybe they're not. Like there's still questions roaming around, like, oh, would Paul George or Terrence Mann like be so good even if Kawhi was there, or would So I mean, it was a great game. I watched like all the Christmas games, just put myself to the TV. So it was great. Um, I think next, speaking of MVP, we can move on to the Lakers Nets game. It was an extremely
Ooh.
close game. LeBron James had 39, and James Harden with a 36-point triple double, and
MVP.
Patty Mills has tied his career high with 34. And I watched the game starting at about the third quarter, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because it was a little bit late, so the Nets were up by 23, and I didn't turn it off, and I had this thought in my mind. I'm like, I feel like the Lakers are gonna come back from this. Like, actually, I thought, I was like, okay, LeBron looks so mad right now. Like, I feel like he's actually gonna come back, and they came back. They tied it at 115, but then Nicholas Claxton had the dunk of the year on LeBron, and
Well,
yeah,
I don't
and
know about the dunk
then
of the year. It
the
was a
Nets
good
won by
dunk.
7. That was disgusting, though. I honestly, I couldn't believe it. It was like, wow. Like Nicholas Claxton, even in his interview, said that's the greatest moment of his career. It would be
Yeah, I
my,
mean,
if yeah.
yeah, it was that game was something else because when they were down 23, I turned it off because I was just like, oh my god, the Lakers, they can't defend, they can't shoot, they can't play basketball. I'm done with them. I'm done with the Lakers. But then once I saw in the fourth quarter that hey, they're actually making this a game. It's gonna be close. So I turned the TV back on. I was excited. I was like, the Lakers can beat the Nets without Katie and Kyrie. Finally, let's go. And then my heart at 115 all. The Nets just went on and the Lakers lost once again, despite LeBron going off, which we will get into actually.
But listen, like the Lakers, like the funny thing with the Lakers is even though Anthony Davis is injured, and people are saying, oh, they're on a 5-game losing streak and everything. Like it's not like they're getting blowed out in every game. Like they're all close. They barely beat the Rockets, but then Jalen Green came back and he had a great game. But you know, LeBron, like he is making his MVP game. We'll obviously touch on him later. But listen, LeBron's doing everything. Like you just said, nobody is helping him. Like we have like Malik Monk, who I guess he's doing okay, but like you know, but then people are saying, oh no, LeBron is scoring 39, the whole team's scoring like 110 points. No, that's like 70 points. 40 for one person compared to 70 for an entire team. Like, come on now. Like LeBron's scoring almost half of the team points, and his team is still losing. So, I mean, and the Lakers, like everybody at the beginning of the year, including myself, was saying like, hey, the Lakers are old. Like, but then it kind of everyone's like, no, why? Like, age isn't a number. But now we can kind of see that like everybody kind of thought, hey, Dwight Howard, no, hey, Carmelo Anthony, yeah, he's had a couple of big games, but
Yeah, but he's also had some bad games too.
Yeah, he's had a lot of bad games too. Malik Monk, I think he actually might have improved a little bit since Charlotte, but still, the overall conclusion is that LeBron is doing everything, and nobody is helping him out. So, honestly, I don't think LeBron can be the GM of his own team. I feel like he still is. But Rob Pelinka needs to do some searching around his team, and he has to take the puzzle pieces one by one. We need a shooter, we need a lockdown defender, we need a passer, we need a guy who can rebound the ball well, and kind of fit those puzzle pieces together. And if it's LeBron James playing with like I don't know, Isaiah Thomas, honestly, I think the Lakers should have kept him. But then there's Russell Westbrook too, which I kind of forgot about. But Russell Westbrook, like, it's so funny. Because I wanted to touch on this too. Russell Westbrook, like, people are saying he's trash and everything, but like, he's still scoring a triple double every single game, and nobody's really no one's like crediting him enough for that. Like, that's actually kind of big.
It's because like it's because he scores so many triple doubles. People don't, oh my god, Westbrook got another triple double, but they lost again.
Yeah.
Westbrook, he only scored his 200th triple double, and like he kind of devalued the triple double. Like he did it so many times, people are just like, oh whatever, it's always happening. It's Westbrook. We expect him. Like that's his minimum now. And I think he even said it once in an interview. It was like, everybody expects me to get 25, 25, and 25 in points, rebounds, and assists. And he's like, I can't do that every night. Like I already get triple doubles. Isn't that a really good thing to do? So, I mean, I kind of feel bad for him, but also the triple doubles don't make up for like his shooting, which I think is a big issue with the Lakers in general. Like they're not good at shooting the three. They're not good at shooting at the rim, and they in offense they just genuinely can't score. I think they're like 26th or 27th in the whole league for offensive efficiency per game. They only score like 105. Oh my god!
It's Russell Westbrook is like representative of like the larger situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the Lakers have to do between like now and the All-Star break, they kind of have to like, sit down, like just like say, okay, what's wrong with the team, Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers are like one of those big teams for the trade deadline to like get a lot of players, because Kendrick Nunn is obviously injured, so that's one young guy that's not there. But think about who you've traded. Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope are like one of the best players in Washington D.C. right now. Then you have Montrezl Harrell, who's good. Now he's in COVID protocols. And then JaVale McGee is having the best season of his career in Phoenix. But honestly, I don't think it's because it's like hey, I don't want to play in the Lakers, and now we're here, so why not? No, I think it's like because there's like more opportunity because you had like LeBron who's your team captain. Even though like the Suns, like people are still debating who the star player is. I mean, it may be Devin Booker, it may be Chris Paul, but like we saw before, Devin Booker has an off night. Okay, then Chris Paul has a good night, and then JaVale has a good night or something like that. Then they win. And even if one player, so that's the beauty of it. If one player has a bad night, everybody can fill in and help him out.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think you were talking about Rob Pelinka and how he needs to kind of be honest with himself and figure out where the Lakers are gonna be headed to by the All-Star break, what trades they need to make and who needs to be on the roster. But like I don't get why he even from back in
They won the title. Like,
why would you just not re-sign everybody? Why wouldn't you just run it back? I mean, Dwight Howard didn't come back for 2021. And obviously this offseason, they traded away Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell also, as you said. They got rid of Alex Caruso. They let him walk to Chicago, and now he's one of their best. Now he's like Chicago's probably fifth or sixth best player. I mean, they kind of just got rid of everybody that wasn't Anthony Davis or LeBron, and then they were like, okay, let's just sign a bunch of older guys who are just based off of their name, and let's see if it works out. And so now they're stuck with Carmelo Anthony, who's actually pretty good. He has good games, bad games occasionally, but overall he's been pretty good. They have Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan, who haven't done much, if anything, this season. Like, I was looking at a stat. The Lakers have the most starting lineups created in the NBA this season at like 19 or 20, because coaching staff
they just keep cycling out like Dwight Howard,
DeAndre Jordan, and whatever other centers they have, because they just don't know what to do because the play.
Yeah.
Like, they had to start LeBron at center yesterday night because of how bad their centers are now. Like, they don't even play them some nights, then they do others because they don't know what to do.
I mean,
and I guess like
when I
you go ahead. No, yeah, you go ahead.
When I think about the Lakers, I kind of think about the Raptors in 2021. Like, not this season, but last season. They had Siakam and Van Vliet, who were their best players. And then they had, like, some okay guys, like, not old, but, like, okay. Their centers sucked. They couldn't rebound the freaking ball. We had Aaron Baines as our starting center. And then this year, we kind of solved it, right? We had Kem Birch, who signed late last year, but he's definitely improved. Chris Boucher has come out of his shell, and he's starting to play much better. Now we have Precious Achiuwa, who's doing great. So, honestly, I think it's all about just, like, trusting the process. And, honestly, I think everybody's, like, kind of, like, not underestimating, overestimating the team. Because, like, it's a brand new team, like you just said, right? They're signing all these different players. Like, I think this year the Lakers don't have to take this as like a, hey, we have to win the championship this year ASAP. If we don't, it's gonna be bad. I think they should like take it as like, hey, this season it's all about getting used to the team, the roster, everybody. You know, maybe making the playoffs, getting a play-in spot, and then moving on to next season. And next season, you know, you have like an overall chemistry, like 100% chemistry, and you can move on and win games and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I get what you mean, but honestly,
I agree.
just because like 37, he's 37 years old.
That's
He's
true.
going to be 38 next year. He doesn't have much time. Anthony Davis is 29, but he seems to get injured more and more every season. So that as he gets older, it's only going to get worse. Russell Westbrook is like 33. DeAndre Jordan's 35. Dwight Howard's 36. I mean, they're just too old to wait a year. Like, you can't expect like LeBron at 38 to have MVP seasons where he averages 30 points per game
Whoa.
every.
Well, right now he's 37 and he's averaging 28.6 points per game. It's
Yeah,
the
but
second
like,
highest in the NBA.
but like nobody else in history has ever done that, and as we've
I
seen with
guess so.
LeBron, like you agree, like it's gonna be hard for them to rely on LeBron forever. Like, you don't want to do that. LeBron doesn't want to do that either. Probably he's probably frustrated about that. And I mean, I guess we can kind of segue into LeBron and his MVP what he's doing right now with the Lakers. I mean, just last night versus the Blazers, blew out a team. They finally scored 139 points. They beat the Blazers by I think like 26,
33.
and then
33.
33. Sorry, 33 actually. And so I was happy about that, but it was on the back of LeBron again, who scored 43 points, had 14 rebounds.
He scored like 28 points in the first half.
Yeah, he went absolutely nuts in the first half. I was watching the game. Like, I knew from the first quarter itself, like, this was going to be a crazy LeBron game. He only ended up playing 30 minutes, actually 29 minutes. Went absolutely insane, and the Lakers actually got a blowout win. I think LeBron did that on purpose, too. He was like, we have to blow out the Blazers today, because if we lose to this Blazers team, our season is over. Like, we're not coming back.
29 minutes? Jeez. What?
I know, right?
That is some MVP
40,
stuff.
Oh my god.
And
yeah.
So this season he's averaging, as you said, 28.6 points per game. He's second behind the one of the greatest scorers, Kevin Durant. And that's his highest points per game since he's shooting his highest 3-point percentage since 2014. He's averaging a career high in blocks, a near career. He's had 7 straight 30-point games since last night. But the Lakers, they're still in 19, not even 500, and they're. So I guess, Daniel, my question: have a shot with all he's doing this season, and with how the Lakers are doing? Does he have a shot? And KD for MVP?
At MVP, I mean, MVP is the most valuable player. So it's not the most valuable team. The most valuable team is the championship. Like, I mean, Steph Curry, obviously, he's done so many things this year, and Kevin Durant as well. But, like, I don't know. It kind of just depends on how he does with in the rest of the season. I feel like that if he and his team kind of go on this breakout year, and they do well, maybe make the play-in, playoffs, whatever. But then Steph Curry wins the title and does like super well, or Kevin Durant wins the title, then I think he's doomed. But it's kind of like 2019. I thought Kawhi had a better shot than Giannis at winning MVP. I'll just say that.
Really? Over even Harden? What about Harden?
No, not 2019.
Oh.
Like, but still, Giannis played like super well. With Kawhi played. He didn't play as well as Giannis. I'll admit that. Kawhi played a little bit less, but his team won the championship when nobody expected them to win. Not even come close. So, I don't know. I don't have like a clear answer on it, but it could happen. It couldn't happen. It honestly just depends.
I think what the Lakers need is like a solid 10-game win streak where they finally get over 500 and are like 30 and 20 or something. And then you can say, oh yeah, look, you know that LeBron guy? He's 38. He's averaging 29 points per game. He's scoring 30 points every game. He's carrying the Lakers to like the 5th seed in the West. And then I think you can say, yeah, let's put him in the MVP conversation. I don't think he'll win over Steph or KD just because they have equal numbers, I would say, very close numbers, and they have way better team records. But I think if the Lakers can actually win some games in January, go maybe even like undefeated in the month or something, but something to boost them up.
That's like the Suns and their 17-game winning streak.
Yeah, just something to boost them up the standings. It gets like, then you can say, oh yeah, let's put LeBron in the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, still speaking of the Lakers in a way, Isaiah Thomas is back in the NBA.
Let's go.
So Isaiah Thomas signed a 10-day contract with the LA Lakers. He scored 19 in his first game, which is decent. He went downhill from there, unfortunately, but he is officially signed with the Dallas Mavericks. He dropped 6 points, 4 assists versus the Kings in 13 minutes of production. So, but then he was put into COVID protocols like a lot of players in the league. So, like, the question is, like, for you, Ekamresh, what do you expect from him? What do people expect from him for the rest of this year, this season, and for the next, like, I don't know. Let's just like cut it short like a year or two.
honestly, because when he scored 19 points versus the Timberwolves, the Lakers are getting blown out. But I was like, oh, he's back. He might actually be really, really useful to a team off the bench or something. But then his next two games, I think he only scored like 3 points and 2 points. And I didn't even get mad. I just felt bad because like he tried for 2 years to work his way back into the league. He had a good game, but then immediately it was just followed by two awful games. And nobody really wants to see a player who's worked so hard and who's just like unfortunately injured go down like that. But I honestly don't see him staying in the league. I don't think that he's going to be consistent enough. That's like been a huge issue with him ever since he got traded to the Cavs. He'll have some games where 14, but then others will he'll be like 2 for 11, 2 points, and then on top of that, every night he gets picked apart on defense because he's only 5'9" and 6'6", so there's that height advantage just destroyed, and he's only really useful if he's scoring. What is what he was doing back in Boston and Phoenix before, but he's not doing that anymore. So I don't think he's gonna. He might have like a short, another. I don't think he's gonna be around after that, unfortunately.
I mean, I think it kind of like I completely agree with your point. I think it kind of like depends on like how he does. Like let's just say like he scores like 20 points and like he averages like I don't know, like 15 points over like I don't know, 3 4 games. I think it honestly just depends on how he does. And I wouldn't be surprised if he would get signed for the rest of this season. But next year, it will honestly just we'll have to see what happens. Because
But do you think like do you think like he even has a chance? He has a good game and then a bad game. Let's say he scores like 15, good efficiency, and then 2 point game. Do you think that is enough to get him signed for the season? Like, is that good enough or no?
that's
Or does he have to
tough.
like play really well?
I mean, in that 2 point game, let's just say Luka's there, and let's say Luka puts on a show, and he plays like a lot of minutes. Then okay, fine. Like Luka played super well. You got like a few minutes, like scored up 2 points. But if it's like, everybody's struggling and you're struggling, like yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of unpredictable at this point.
Yeah, because like I'm just going off the past records. Like when he was with the Nuggets, I mean the Wizards in 2019, with the Nuggets in 2020, Lakers even just a few weeks ago now. It's just he's not the same anymore. It's not his fault. He obviously was badly injured in Boston back in the playoffs, but it's just unfortunate for him. But he's just not. I don't think he's good enough anymore. Like he might be good enough to be like a G League player, who still averages, or even just like a semi-pro. Or I mean not like a semi-pro, but like in another like a European league, he'd probably be very very good. But in the NBA, I don't think he's a good fit at all.
Yeah. No, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, and so I guess like kind of going off of that I noticed was like that it's the first day of January actually, but been more NBA players, like unique NBA players to play in this season. I think it's like 460 something, which is the most ever. And it's just a huge amount of players that are coming up from the G League and out of retirement. It's obviously because of COVID and with all the, stars, all the 10-day contracts just to, the hardship. I don't know. So the teams actually have rosters that they can play on. But like all these players like Lance Stevenson, I don't know, back and now he's signed a 10-day deal with the Pacers, which is pretty funny. And then Derek Collison, Sandy Johnson came back for the Lakers from I guess maybe 2 or 3 years ago are getting called. He was another one. Are getting called back into the league. also a lot of young guys from the G League, like Xavier Moon, Yuta Watanabe, Norvell Pell, Cassius Stanley, and getting their chances. So I guess, like, are you happy these guys are all getting their chances to show what they can do?
I mean, the thing that's like super funny, like it was Trey Young who said this in an interview. He said like I don't like when I go to practice now because like most of the teams in COVID protocols, like I don't even know who I'm practicing with. Like when I watched I watched it was Raptors Cavs when the Cavs beat the Raptors by 45 when the whole Raptors team was in protocols and the whole Cavs team was still there. So I wasn't mad about it, but like Svi Milinchuk was our starting small forward. I mean, we had Siakam, Van Vliet, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Kemp Birch. We had all these people that went into COVID protocols. And then we have like reserves from the G League or that just came back or like I don't know. Yeah, like just people who signed 10-day contracts. And the team like looks so confusing. I didn't know anybody except for Svi Milinchuk and Yutu Watanabe. Those are the
Uh-huh.
only two. Like I was so confused.
Really? Yeah. I mean, but I'm happy honestly because like a lot of the NBA is so hard, so cut to get into that it's great to just have people get NBA experience and make NBA money. Just even for just a little bit. So I think it's a fun. I think it's great that they're able to get the opportunity at least, and even some of the old guys like who in his pretty good role player, and I think it's like it's comfort.
Yeah.
I would say. And I guess I'll ask you one more thing. Like since you were talking about the Raptors, what do you think about the Raptors season so far? Right, they're the 11th seed in the East. They're 15-17. Any thoughts on like their on Siakam, Van Vliet, just everything?
Well, I thought it would be much worse.
Really?
I mean, 50 like I'm kind of looking at the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. We're the 11th seed and we're at 15-17. And then you have like and in the Western Conference, the Lakers have like practically the same record as us, and they're, you know, like in at the top of the play-in, and we're like I mean, obviously it's like the first half of the year, so it's obviously super close, but like we're 15-17, the Knicks are 17-19, same with the Celtics, like, I mean, yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I'm happy with the team success. We're winning against. We almost beat the Nets. We Scotty Barnes barely missed a half court shot. Um, we beat the Clippers. I mean, without Paul George, but still, like, and we're getting wins against pretty good teams. Like we beat the Cavs before, Magic, who are with Jalen Suggs though. The Pacers. Like, we're coming close with the good teams, so I'm actually not that mad about it. I mean, hopefully at this rate we can make it to the play-in, but Van Vliet has definitely like showed up this year. Siakam has been like average,
Mm-hmm.
but Van Vliet is definitely the big one. Gary Trent Jr. like came out from last year. I think when he first came to Toronto last year after the whole Kyle Lowry trade, oh no, not Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell's trade, he didn't really want to be here. It kind of looked like it in his game, but then I think he kind of like adjusted, and now he's playing so much better. And then we have guys coming up: Chris Boucher, Yutu Watanabe, Malachi Flynn. His kid's like playing really good. Scotty Barnes is like almost is like second in the Rookie of the Year race. So honestly, I'm satisfied. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, Nick Nurse is doing a good job of keeping the team. So
Yeah, and I think. Do you think the Raptors should continue? Do you think they have a chance to get to like the play-in, or even like an 8 seed, or no?
definitely, definitely. I mean, as of right now, we definitely do because like the standings are super close. Like I'm looking right now, like we're 7.5 games behind the first seed, and then the 6 seed Sixers are 5 games behind. So we're only like 2 games behind them, and we're like on completely different ends. And then
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte is like what like two, yeah. So it's like it's so close. So I mean, it could end up either way. We could be the 6th seed, make the playoffs right away, or we could be like the 11th seed, barely miss the playoffs. I mean, last year we were 10th for a very long time, and then the Wizards had like a 10-game winning streak, and they went on top of us. And then the
Yeah.
Celtics won a couple games and we lost because we had a tough schedule to close out the year, and then we kind of went down to 12th. So, I mean, I want them to obviously I want them to do good. I think there's definitely a big chance. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah.
So
I
guess
we're
gonna
gonna wrap
wrap
it up there.
for today.
It was a little bit of a shorter podcast, but we did get important NBA news. Obviously, the Christmas games, a lot of the players, the Lakers, and my MVP, LeBron James, and
Yeah, guys, we definitely appreciate you.
For
we're really excited for
Yeah.
the new year and everything that we're gonna be doing in 2022. On my side at least, I'm gonna definitely try and have like at least one or two basketball related posts every Monday, and then getting a lot more NBA guests onto our show because that's something we love to have. Daniel, you kind of want to talk
Yeah.
about?
And then like in terms of the actual podcast, we started doing this a lot more, but we're gonna try to get a post in at least once a week for you guys. If we have time, then we'll do two. But we're definitely gonna try to do at least one on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. We're trying to like Ekamresh just said about the posting, and then maybe the stories like every couple days. We'll post a story and update about something big in the NBA. And let us know because we're definitely curious about it. If you guys want us to do like a YouTube live stream and do a Q&A or something like that, we're definitely like me and Nathan, we're definitely okay to do that. So whatever you guys want to see from us, and also like we want to thank you guys obviously once more for the support from 2021, 2022. We're coming. You know, definitely
Yes,
ready
sir.
to see you guys, and we're happy to be doing this because it's definitely at least done something to both of our lives. Um, but thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to download and listen on Spotify, subscribe and like the video on YouTube, on Instagram. Make sure to like and follow. With that being said, everybody, me and Akers will see you guys next time.